Welcome back, everyone, to Insights with the Experts. Joined today by a very special guest, Cassidy Diamond, who is a longtime digital advertising executive. Cassidy has a really interesting story. But before we start, Cassidy, I just want to kind of diffuse some of the tension that I'm sure you often deal with. You and your company are largely responsible for putting those very annoying 15 and 30-second video ads in front of streaming video content, not only online for many years, but also now on the big screen in the living room via CTV. So obviously, I'm kidding, given the fact that you and I have worked together in the past and did so for many years. But welcome to BluChip's Insights with the Experts. If we can start, Cassidy, with your current role, that would be terrific.
Thank you. Yeah, great to be here, Brian. Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, it is a hot topic and unpopular opinion to love the ads that are on your streaming device. However, it does help subsidize subscriptions, and it helps us all enjoy more content in the long run. So hopefully it's a good thing. But yes, that's what I do every day. My role with my company, Magnite, is to lead the brand partnerships team, which essentially we go in and we talk to Fortune 500 brands who have decided not to use an agency to buy their media. And we talk to them about their investments in streaming and how they can get more for their money. And we work with them on strategy as well. So yes, we are the technical wizards behind the curtain on the streaming devices.
Are you able to share with us some of the clients that you have worked with in the past?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a great roster. It runs everything from Bayer, Inspire Brands, Molson Coors, P&G. It runs the gamut. I started my career working with more mid-sized, smaller businesses, and then worked my way into more of the Fortune 500, thanks to my career trajectory with you when you hired me.
Yeah, appreciate that. So can you describe for our viewers the end-to-end process that you undertake for new business? So you reach out to a prospective brand or marketer for the first time, and then I imagine that sales cycle is lengthy. Can you walk us through that process?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of courage and confidence that's needed when you're working in sales, with a good mix of emotional intelligence. And what I mean by that is you have to think of your sales prospects as individuals who are helping put food on your table and treat them as such, because it's not just a transaction. You are trying to build a relationship. So as we go through and try to define who it is that we're trying to reach out to that makes the buying decisions, we make a list of who those individuals may be based on research on LinkedIn. There's a lot of resources available when you're in sales to find those prospect titles. And then you begin the process of trying to create value for them in your messaging. So you're reaching out you're trying to identify what events they're attending to and whether or not you can attend those events to meet them and talk with them there. You're also trying to identify research on their company and what their current challenges may be in the role and the vertical that they're in. And a vertical means just, if it's an alcohol advertiser or brand, you're trying to understand what's happening in that category economically and what they might be facing. And then your outreach is usually, it takes about, I think today it's about 9 touches before you actually break through. And you can very often, if you reach out to 10 folks and you eventually break into those 10, maybe one will be one that you end up working with in the near term. The others kind of go into a longer term bucket that you still have to continue to develop the relationship. So that's the typical process. You're reaching out, you're trying to connect with them based on adding value. You're not asking them for an immediate purchase. You're showing them how you solve a problem or fix the challenge that they have today and how you can do that easily for them.
Yeah, I remember in the early days of CTV, and I'm actually hoping you'll explain what CTV is for our audience in a moment. There used to be very few advertisements, and now increasingly you're noticing more and more across every program. And then you have your subscription services, right? So Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu. But then when you turn on a YouTube TV, for instance, right, it's very much like linear television where there are ad blocks during a program. Could we take a step back if possible? And can you just break down for our audience what the difference is between a Hulu or a Netflix and an actual platform provider like an Apple TV or let's say a Chromecast or even a smart TV and what that means?
Yeah, I'd say so you have the original equipment manufacturers. We call that OEMs. There's a lot of acronyms in this business that you get used to. So you look at it as there's different groups, and those groups are, like Apple TV or Samsung TV, or, you name it, anyone creating an actual device like the original Roku stick. Those are it, essentially, and Roku has also had an integration in TCL televisions. So you have this group that are the equipment manufacturers that also offer kind of their own content and their opportunities within their devices that you're watching. And then you also have kind of the digital first players who obviously Netflix was a very early one. And I love the Blockbuster story. I think we're all old enough to remember that. Right. And I'm dating myself, but yes, the
Not all of us.
evolution from Blockbuster to mailing in DVDs or, to watch your shows. That was an interesting evolution, but those are all digital first. So you have like the Slings of the world and everyone who came into the digital side first, and they were essentially built for this opportunity to go to market and, present great content to their audiences, but they also need a way to make revenue back to support that content. And so the ad slots and the advertisements that you see really cover those costs essentially and are part of their profit margin.
Great. So as we wrap up here, what advice, Cassidy, would you give to women who want to break into sales and build a successful career?
Yeah, as women, you have an opportunity to really hone in on, I think, just some of the key opportunities to use emotional intelligence in the best way possible. I feel like a lot of early stage career individuals, you have to prove yourself, but you prove yourself through your results. There's a great saying, don't confuse effort with results. And so you really have to kind of make a plan for yourself. What is your end game? Where do you want to be, or where do you think you want to be? And that can change and evolve as you're in this space. And for women in particular, it means you need to find your voice, because if you're going into a more male-dominated industry, you have to be comfortable speaking up, and know that your ideas and suggestions and thoughts are valuable in that group. I think there's some interesting statistics around men who apply for roles typically have about 60 to 70% of what's needed for the role, and women won't typically apply for a role unless they feel they have 100% of what's described in the role. I heard that recently. So I think for women, it's just really understanding what your superpowers might be, and in your talent set, and going for it, and being assertive, make the asks and speak up. I think those are the biggest things. But if you have a roadmap of where you want to be, it's easier to do that, and it's easier to negotiate for what you feel you deserve. I would also highly encourage women to talk to their peers, or those in the roles that you want to be in who have done it, and they will help you and be a coach to you in this whole process.
Well, I would say from firsthand experience working with you, I mean, one of your primary skills has always been your ability to nurture relationships. I mean, we haven't worked together for goodness, almost 10 years, and we still stay in contact. And I remember almost immediately from day one, I just had that feeling about you, how you could figure out a way to connect with people on a human level, and then carry that all the way through into a very successful and nurturing relationship. So kudos to you for taking, you know, that 100% requirement and really pushing yourself into the door here with to what looks like has been a wildly successful career in digital advertising. I thank you, Cassidy, for joining us today on Insights with the Experts. It's been great to see you, and certainly along the way, great to track your success in the industry.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you for giving me my shot.